In today's video, we'll be taking a look at NotesUp, a note-taking application for elementary OS. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite elementary apps because I use it quite a lot. So, with NotesUp, you get support for both notebooks and tags. You can tag any of your notes, and you can also have them in any notebook, and your notebooks can be inside of other notebooks for better organization of your notebooks. How many times can I say notebooks? So with Notes in NotesUp, you are able to do Markdown for formatting, and then you're also able to view the note rendered with the Markdown formatting. You also have options for your notes. You can choose which notebook to put your notes into. You can change the title independently of the header in the note itself. So as you can see here, I have this one just titled Pop OS, whereas the text here is the title that I didn't actually go with for the Pop OS review video. So we can edit that to just be Pop OS review. Changes over on the left, does not change over here. Also shows when the note was created and last updated. You can add tags from here as well. So in this case, this would be Linux. And you can also add emojis as tags. So I can add that as a tag. I don't know why you would want to do, well, I guess, actually, no, I guess I can see why you'd want to, like maybe stuff that's high priority. Yeah. That'd be one thing you could do with emojis. Anyway, you can also bookmark specific notes if you need to get to one particularly quickly. So, as well as keeping them organized otherwise, if there's some that are otherwise scattered around but you want to have quick access to, you can just bookmark them. Works very well. You can also search through your notes. So let's see, elementary. And every note I have here that has elementary in the... Is that all that I have tagged with elementary? Oh, it's because I had the wrong category selected. And then the search goes through all of your notes that contain the particular thing that you searched. Whereas if you're just searching for a particular tag, well, you can click your tags over on the left here. As far as options for NotesUp, you have the default high contrast look. There's also a solarized light, which I believe also changes the editor to be solarized. And then you have a solarized dark. From the settings wheel, you can also create a new notebook. So let's call this one test, and then you can change the color of the notebook so you can find it easier at a glance. Let's just make that bright yellow. And then you can even change the styling for an individual notebook from here. Let's create that. Got a test, new page. This is some test text. And as you can see, you can pretty much do plain text just fine, although the editor does prioritize Markdown. It is hard to type while talking at the same time. Yeah. So the editor does somewhat enforce Markdown styling, so keep that in mind. You can export a note as a PDF. You can also export it as a Markdown file. And if we go into preferences here, this will be for general preferences for all of your notes. You can change the font for the editor. You can toggle automatic indentation, which if you're, for example, doing a bulleted list, it'll automatically indent it to match up with what's above it. You can also toggle whether to show line numbers in the editor. You can toggle whether to keep the sidebar visible. By default, that's off to give you a bit more room to focus on the editor. I kind of just like leaving it on though. And you can also have the spell check on and off. You can also, separately from the main theme settings up there, change the theme of the editor. Note that, let's change it to that for example, if you then go back to the main settings wheel here, and let's just put it back to light for a second, solarized, back to dark, it does override the individual editor theme, so keep that in mind. And then for the viewer, the only settings you really get here is for what style sheet it will use. So let's change this back to the... Let's go to a node that actually has some stuff going on. Let's go with Pop OS Review again. So by default, it's like that. Let's go to Viewer, and we'll just look through the styles here. So by default, it's on the elementary style sheet. You can also change it to Air and Modest. One downside that NotesUp does have compared to a lot of the more popular competitors is there's no built-in way to synchronize your notes between devices. That being said, your notes are saved into a single database file under .local/share/notesup. It'll just be notesup.db. So while there's no built-in automatic synchronization solution, since it's only the one database file, it's fairly easy to use other applications to sync that up. SyncThing is fairly popular. In my case, I'm using Nextcloud Desktop Sync. If you're on Elementary OS and you'd like to try NotesUp for yourself, you can get it on App Center for a suggested price of $12.